2 lines, or rather 1 button. It quietly changed TV forever.
I can watch whatever I want?
When you want it.
And in turn, changed us with it.
Within your TV lies enormous potential.
When I get home, television's my salvation.
The choice of when you watch it.
There was a time when TV told you what you had to do. It told us to sit down, to pay attention, to hold our pee.
I have to pee.
And we obeyed. Then one day, we hit pause, literally. And nothing was the same again. That button promised us freedom. Watch whatever, whenever. But in chasing control, we perhaps gave up something. This is a story of how one single button reshaped the media landscape forever, and in fact, the way we even tell our stories. It may not be an exaggeration to say it rewired the way we live.
We'll make a television show.
Consider the ultimate conquest of time.
Welcome to the TiVo-lution.
We'll start our story in the early 70s. This was an era when TV was like a train leaving the station. It left with or without you. Schedules were locked in. There was no way to control them as a viewer. But then VCRs came along.
Sony Betamax lets you record and see what you want when you want.
They allowed you to actually record live TV and then watch it later. And then, I don't know how many times I've said this on this channel, but the movie studios freaked out and decided to sue.
Not again.
It was actually Universal who sued Betamax, saying you can't tape TV, because in turn, they were afraid of pirating. This was way before Pirate Bay. But then in 1984, the Supreme Court said yes, you can tape your shows, and Sony defeated Universal Studios. The basic premise is that if something comes over the airwaves and reaches a screen in your home, you have the volition, the agency, to be able to record that and watch it back within the confines of your own home. You're not distributing it. And this carried on for a while, right through to the late 90s. But the inhibiting factor of the VHS, recording the TV, is there wasn't a way to pause what was occurring. You still had to record that and let it go to the end, and then take the tape out, and you could rewatch what had happened. But then things changed in 1997. There were 2 engineers who later work at Time Warner, Jim Barton and Mike Ramsey, who were frustrated with the rigid nature of broadcast TV. And they asked, what if you just recorded everything you watched and you never had to schedule or miss a thing again? And this became the founding idea of TiVo.
TiVo gives you control of what you watch.
When it was revealed at CES 1999, it blew people's mind. I can actually remember when my friend told me about it when I was in grade 7. He says, you can pause live TV now. I couldn't get my head around it.
You're kidding me, right?
It felt like you as the individual were controlling the broadcaster. It felt like freedom. And in the early 2000s, this took off. People loved it. The name TiVo became synonymous with being able to pause live TV and skip commercials. People started to record entire seasons of their favorite TV shows. And then Replay TV let you auto-skip ads. And of course, the TV industry sued, and they lost. Suddenly, we were not watching TV. We were editing it. We had control, or at least we thought we did. And this is where algorithms just started to sneak their way in. As early as 2001, TiVo introduced the thumbs up and thumbs down feature. When you watched a show, you could rate it. You could say you liked it or you didn't. TiVo began to learn what you liked, and it would even go on to record shows that it would suggest to you later on based on your preferences.
TiVo has Wishlist to automatically find and record programs based on your interest.
For me, this is a really interesting moment because now the devices we are using are beckoning us to watch more. They're creating playlists and an archive of shows for us to consume. And they began finding the dopamine hits. What did we like? What shows were our favorites? I want to pause right there for a sec, and I actually want to talk about this image, the one of the TiVo remote. You see, here in Canada, TiVo didn't really take off as much, so finding a TiVo remote has been expensive. Full disclosure, I didn't buy one. It was actually my editor's auntie who recommended, why don't we just use AI? And that's where we went to Artlist, and we just dragged the image to the image-to-video generator here, and it came up with this. We gave it the prompt to say, hit the pause button, and so now, voila, we have video of a TiVo remote. And you can do this with kind of any image that you have the rights to. Take, for example, this one of me here in Hawaii holding my iPhone. I took this and I dragged it into the AI image to video generator, and it comes up with its own prompt, but you can even just write your own in like I did here, saying slowly pan left to right, and it came up with this. And if you like it, you can upscale it to 4K. I would always rather go shoot the thing myself, but there's times that you're in a pinch like this, and this came in really handy. And as always with AI, be careful of the fingers. I'm really appreciating that Artlist is innovating. They're not just staying stagnant as a library. And they've actually put an extension for that library in Premiere Pro. So you don't have to go to the website and download it. You can actually just drag the different assets directly into your project. And with your subscription, you're licensing them like that. Voila. It's really efficient to work with. They also have this new thing called voice to voice. So you can just record your voice and add an effect over it. So we'll take my voice and import it into Artlist. Thank you, Artlist,
for sponsoring this video. You can check them out down below. I have a discount that gets you 2 free months off.
And thank you, Artlist, for supporting this video. So this perception of control was just beginning to shift as early as we had received it. The recommendation engine had begun, which you may have even seen this YouTube video because of that. This is the foundation of modern streaming, keeping you watching. DVRs also changed with how we interacted with live events. The most TiVo'd moment, the most replayed moment in the history of TV, we have the data, was Janet Jackson's "It's Gonna Be Me." By the mid-2000s, most people are PVRing their favorite TV show. But there was still one shackle of broadcast TV, and that is the actual TV. You had to be in the living room to watch it. Enter the Slingbox.
The Slingbox lets you watch your home TV through the internet on your laptop or mobile phone.
This little device that you would attach to your TV would stream your TV anywhere in the world. You could then be on your laptop in Japan watching the Boston Celtics. This was mind-blowing for people at the time. Just like people couldn't believe they could pause their own TV, they now were realizing they could travel anywhere and that they didn't have to be in their living room. Again, people saw this as freedom.
Watch and control your home TV with Slingbox anywhere you can get an internet.
And I would say there's a debate that we actually lost a bit of the family unit at this time. Just like when we used to have one computer that you'd have to share with your family, now we're all on our own separate devices. And the same thing happened with the television. The Slingbox played into this desire for control that viewers were now used to. And to add in, many cable providers provided video on demand, the option to be able to watch a movie or your favorite TV show whenever you wanted to. DVRs and on demand cut the link between the TV schedule, and the Slingbox cut the link between us and our living room. And at the same time, in 2005, someone was uploading a video of themselves at the zoo. YouTube was launched, and then 2 years later, streaming would never be the same. In 2007, Netflix launched, which paved the way for Hulu, Disney Plus, and the billion other streaming platforms that are out there right now. As a society, our time on screens skyrocketed, and the streamers and broadcasters saw our addiction to control. In 2013, Netflix took this a step further, seeing that people loved control, and they released all 13 episodes of season 1 of House of Cards at once. This is where the term binge watching entered our lexicon, and people began to brag about rotting on a couch over the course of a weekend, watching multiple seasons of their favorite TV shows. The CEO of Netflix infamously once said that their biggest competition was sleep. I don't know about you, but I do find myself a little bit overwhelmed at times by this onslaught of media and content coming at us, especially when it comes to podcasts. I'm like, have I listened to the latest Huberman one? Have I seen this one? You tried to consume as much as you can, and your weeks get really busy and inefficient. So I started this new thing with our team called a reset ritual. It's a 5-minute thing, and this is actually at the end of a day. When you feel like you haven't nailed that day, you want to set the next day up for success. That ritual, we put it into like a PDF. It's just a few quick tasks that you do at night, and you can download it for free down below. We put a little link there so you can get it directly to your inbox. It's going to help you set up that next day and just have a clear set of tasks to do so you don't have to get overwhelmed. You don't have to live in the sea and swamp of the algorithm. In the past, when a TV show ended, we knew it was time for bed. We could continue watching, but that's when you got into the late night TV shows, like the really mediocre talk shows, where the talk show hosts were hoping to get to the late night slot, but we're still in the uber late night slots. There was just mediocre TV the later it got into the day. But now, everything you loved was available, and people were foregoing sleep. People are sleeping less and less, when in fact we have more and more convenience. You would think it's the other way around. If you still had to be a farmer or you were some sort of medieval peasant, wouldn't you have less sleep? No, we have light bulbs. It's so interesting if you look at technology, the trade-off that there always is. We wanted freedom from the TV in our living room, but in turn, we've given up all our free time to be binging the endless glut of TV shows that exist. So far, some people would say this is a win for viewers. We have more control, more choice, more content. What could possibly be the downside? We have so much content available at any given moment. There's this paralysis that occurs when you open up Netflix. It's suggesting you a million things that you might like, and suddenly you don't know what is even good anymore, or what you should start. Or when you get into a series, you give up on it pretty quickly because you think there must be something better out there. The pause button created this cascade to the moment that we are now in streaming, and it has changed the way we actually tell our stories. I wonder if shows like The Soprano would have ever existed in this era. Slow-moving shows that require you to buy in and understand the characters, build empathy for their backstories, and then enjoy that through multiple seasons. But now we have to have crazy hooks. The shows I'm working on and I'm pitching to major streamers right now, I'm in these meetings and we have to work on the beginning for weeks to reshape it so that it can hook you in, because we know the viewer will skip at any moment. Slowly, all of our content begins to look the same. This recommendation engine becomes an echo chamber. If it keeps continuing to suggest things you like, then you only see the same things you like. And this is perhaps why every documentary that comes out on Netflix right now is true crime, because it knows if you like that, it's going to suggest more. And their systems and their data is telling them people like true crime. So that's all we're getting served. We're no longer taking risks. Even the way we tell our stories, the beginning of our films are different. We have to have these crazy hooks and montages at the beginning where you can't have a slow burn and have people enter into a story world the way that the director and the writers had envisioned. This pause button that started as a tool of liberation may have been a trap. It turns out that being able to watch anything at any time becomes us into watching everything all the time. I've literally had meetings with some of the major streamers, and they remind us that our audiences are watching their TV shows with two screens. Every few minutes in the TV show, we actually have to edit in moments that out loud remind a viewer of the plot and what's happening in case they've lost their attention with the TV show and they're watching another one on their phone. And I do realize that it's not all on the viewer. Sometimes the storytellers are boring. I'm so grateful that I can pause a TV show. I'm so grateful that I can just go watch the highlights to a hockey game or a basketball game the next day, and I didn't have to time my whole morning around the sports scores. But traditional TV worked at a bit of a slower pace that I think might have been a bit healthier. It had breaks built in. Do you remember as a kid when there was a commercial break and you would sprint to the bathroom to go pee, or you'd go get yourself a snack, or you'd quickly get on the phone, or you'd go do that chore that your mother had been asking you? But streaming obliterated these breaks. We said, yay! TV doesn't tell us what to do anymore, but then asked Netflix to tell us what to do next. So a lot of people say that Netflix was the biggest revolution to how we watch TV and movies. But I would argue that it was probably TiVo. It taught us something, that we didn't have to wait anymore. We hit pause, and I just don't know if we ever hit play again. Thank you for making it this far. Probably all 12% of you. Why don't you close the laptop and read a book? My goal this year has just been to try to read one book a month. And maybe that sounds like a lot, or maybe that sounds like nothing to you. But man, it's been fun to keep my phone and all media out of my bedroom, even though I am a filmmaker, and just read a book at night. That's my favorite thing. That's how I love to end the day. Appreciate you watching this. I hate goodbyes, but I do love JJ Okocha. Yeah, he was a good footballer. Yeah, if you're Nigerian and you watch this, let me know. All right, see ya.